job from 1997. Now, if you were to compare the two incidents, the match was not stopped by Vince McMahon. It was just a previous stipulation heading into the match that was put on the match a few days prior to if anybody interfered on CM Punk's behalf, mainly the Shield, Vince McMahon as WWE Chairman would strip CM Punk of his over 434-day reign as WWE Champion. It was an astonishing reign for CM Punk, seeing him successfully defend the championships against Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, Kane, Daniel Bryan, and many other top new talent superstars and legends. Somewhere along the line, we knew it was going to have to end. I don't really like the approach of CM Punk coming out and complaining after having his 434-day reign as champion end, because it was impressive. If it wasn't near as impressive as it was, I could see CM Punk having somewhat of a claim to a rematch for the WWE Championship, but with how lengthy his reign was, how boring it got on times, especially during the second half, I think that WWE made a huge decision by giving The Rock the WWE Championship, and for the at least 70 to 75 days, The Rock will be WWE Champion in anticipation of him losing the title at WrestleMania 29 to, let's say, John Cena or CM Punk again. It will be fun and it will be meaningful seeing The Rock as WWE Champion, and the ratings will see all-time highs with The Rock as WWE Champion. So I think that was a huge decision that will ultimately turn out and prove out to be the right decision, even though it will be somewhat of a short reign for The Rock as WWE Champion. The way the WWE Championship match went last night, of course, it was similar to the Shawn Michaels British Bulldog 1996 WWE Championship match, where the lights went out during the match, and for half of the pay-per-view that saw so many incredible superstars headline the Beware of Dog pay-per-view. It was amazing seeing that. They didn't get the match done in its entirety until Beware of Dog 2, which was a makeup for the power outage at the pay-per-view, but really having the lights go out halfway through the Rock CM Punk match really put me in mind of the Beware of Dog pay-per-view. In 1996, it was Shawn Michaels' second WWE Championship match on pay-per-view during his inaugural WWE Championship reign, but really having the lights go out and having the Shield interfere. It's believed that it was the Shield that interfered last night on the behalf of CM Punk, or this past Sunday rather. It really put me in mind of that kind of match. I don't think there was any need of having the lights go out. You could have had The Rock win the championship without having the interference of the Shield and the lights go out. I think that would have made the championship match and The Rock's victory a lot more meaningful if you would have remained having the lights go out and would have kept the Shield out of the match. I think that CM Punk facing The Rock should have been left up to a one-on-one, fair and square matchup with no interference. I think it really would have made it more meaningful and would have made it a piece of footage that would have been looked back at in the WWE archives for many years to come. Having the lights go out and having the Shield interfere, CM Punk win the match, having the match restarted, just made the match feel like another Rock WWE Championship match from the mid-1990s. I wanted to see something different in the WWE Championship match. We saw it, but the differentiality we saw in the Championship match was not what I was expecting, and it really took away from what this match could have potentially been. Now, with the duct tape concerning the conclusion of the World Heavyweight Championship match between the Big Show and Alberto Del Rio, that was unpredictable. I will give the Big Show and Alberto Del Rio the benefit of the doubt. I wasn't expecting the duct tape to be the contributing factor to Alberto Del Rio retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. Very unpredictable finish to the World Championship match at the Royal Rumble this past Sunday night, and that was probably the most unpredictable championship match out of any championship match, speaking in terms of championship matches in their entirety at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Even though there weren't many WWE Championship matches we saw at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, that had to be the most unpredictable match because of how Alberto Del Rio and his ring announcer Ricardo Rodriguez utilized the duct tape to their advantage. It gave them a decisive advantage over the Big Show and allowed Alberto Del Rio to prolong his reign as the world champion. And according to Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez in comments posted on WWE.com and given to WWE reporters, they had a night-long celebration after Alberto Del Rio survived the Royal Rumble and is now heading to WrestleMania apparently as the world champion. Very excited to find out what they're going to be doing with the Big Show and Alberto Del Rio's program heading in to WrestleMania, as we're just over 69 days away from the WrestleMania pay-per-view. I want to know who Alberto Del Rio will be facing for the World Championship. And if you ask me my opinion on who Alberto Del Rio will be facing, depending on what the announcement of Booker T is this coming Friday on SmackDown, it'll be Alberto Del Rio facing Dolph Ziggler for the World Championship at WrestleMania, because Dolph Ziggler, with his phenomenal performance in the Royal Rumble match, and with the briefcase still there as insurance to guarantee him a future WrestleMania main event or a future championship match, I think that it's pretty much guaranteed we will see Dolph Ziggler facing Alberto Del Rio for the World Championship, and I think that's the most phenomenal match that SmackDown could give as a representation of their brand, with the phenomenal WWE Championship match that is expected to happen at WrestleMania 29. It remains to be seen who Alberto Del Rio will be facing for the World Championship. He still has to get past the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, where I'm expecting him to defend the championship either in a rematch from the Royal Rumble against the Big Show, or in a World Heavyweight Championship Elimination Chamber match. One of the two chamber matches we will see at Elimination Chamber will be for a major championship, so it's going to be interesting to see where the Big Show fits in with Alberto Del Rio. I love the aftermath of the Royal Rumble too, where the Big Show decimated Alberto Del Rio and his ring announcer with the utilization again of duct tape, this time benefiting the Big Show when he was able to incapacitate Alberto Del Rio, and Alberto Del Rio was left helpless to watch the Big Show decimate Ricardo Rodriguez, who is a trained professional wrestler. I don't know how WWE keep professing to fans that he's unable to defend himself when he has performed on editions of NXT as a pro to some of the rookies on that show, and he's also wrestled prior to being brought into WWE, so I don't know why WWE keep professing that he's unable to defend himself and he's just a defenseless ring announcer. That's pretty pathetic. But I love the aftermath of the Royal Rumble, and I loved how unpredictable the World Championship match was. The United States Championship match on YouTube with The Miz and Antonio Cesaro, I think this match was worthy of being on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view because of how phenomenal the follow-up to the conclusion of the United States Championship match was on the aftermath edition of Raw of the Royal Rumble. The Miz was the special referee for a match against Antonio Cesaro and Randy Orton. The match was incredible. It went several commercial breaks, and that was the biggest thing that stood out about the Antonio Cesaro-Randy Orton confrontation. It wasn't so much The Miz, it was just the fact that it went over 2 commercial breaks with a phenomenal exchange. The conclusion of the match with The Miz providing the distraction for Randy Orton to take advantage and win the match leads me to believe that Randy Orton could be a potential contender for the United States Championship, even though he doesn't need it. He entered the match at number 26 and had a phenomenal performance in the Royal Rumble match, which is the biggest contributing factor to Randy Orton not needing to be in a feud with Antonio Cesaro for the United States Championship that could result in a 3-way at some point between The Miz, Randy Orton, and Antonio Cesaro for the United States Championship. And I think that having a challenger like Randy Orton and The Miz would go along fantastic with Cesaro's gimmick of loving America, but not really so much living up to the love of the citizens of America. I think it would be fantastic seeing a 3-way between these 3 superstars, but I think the match between Antonio Cesaro and Randy Orton really elevated the stock of Antonio Cesaro, if anything, and convinced me that he's a marketable WWE or World Champion down the road. He can speak 5 languages. He has an international feel about him. His athletic ability is phenomenal. His contributions to prior wrestling organizations have been well documented, so I think that he's a marketable champion, and to have him in feuds with Randy Orton is fantastic. But I loved how The Miz, provided the distraction for Randy Orton, gave Antonio Cesaro the skull-crushing finale. That leads me to believe at some point we'll see The Miz and Antonio Cesaro feud for the United States Championship, and throwing Randy Orton in there will give Randy Orton something to do. I can see this one of several triple threat matches at WrestleMania 29, really. I think it would do the United States Championship an incredible amount of justice. I think it was just phenomenal, and I think that's why the United States title match should have been on the pay-per-view. If you were going to give the fans a YouTube match, it should have been the tag team title match, because nothing was done as a follow-up between Team Hell No and the Rhodes Scholars on Monday Night Raw. Cody Rhodes was in about a 5-minute match with John Cena, where John Cena made quick work of Cody Rhodes, followed by John Cena immediately determining to face the WWE Champion at WrestleMania, because it will be a harder challenge for him to overcome. He alluded to the fact that facing the World Champion would be a better chance for him to acquire a championship, and I love how he was honest in his promo following his match with Cody Rhodes. He said that winning the world title would just be easier, but as opposed to winning the WWE Championship, where he would face a champion who he had faced a total of 6 to 7 times and been beaten every time, or he could face someone like The Rock, who defeated him in one of the biggest WrestleMania matches of all time. I love how John Cena was brutally honest. He was just as brutally honest in his promo as JBL was with his commentary. 24 hours after the Royal Rumble, alluding to the fact that some of the things as a follow-up to the Royal Rumble were absolutely awful, like the dance-off and WWE karaoke with the Great Khali singing the entrance music of Shawn Michaels, and also with Antonio Cesaro's contribution to the Royal Rumble match, eliminating the Great Khali the way he did, exemplifying his power, really shows me that Antonio Cesaro still has a long way to go with the WWE, but he is getting there, representing them currently as the United States Champion. I see him being one of the longest reigning United States Champions of all time. The tag team title match last night could have had more detail to it. Obviously, what I see this leading up to is the inception of the Team Hell No team of Daniel Bryan and Kane. I don't see this team lasting very long with how lackluster the tag team championship match was. Damien Sandow having a match with Sheamus. It was a tables match last night, very lackluster, and John Cena and Cody Rhodes' match, very lackluster. I don't see anything else being done with Team Hell No and the Rhodes Scholars. If anything, Team Hell No will eventually lose the tag team titles to the Shield, who are the assailants of Paul Heyman and CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. Obviously, this will all come out over the next few weeks. They're together, and that will lead up to the Shield challenging Team Hell No for the tag team titles, and this is how I see it going. Team Hell No will lose to the Shield, and when the Shield becomes the tag team champions, then we will see the implosion of Kane and Daniel Bryan as tag team champions, and probably the renewal of their rivalry from 2012, 2011. I see something along those lines. I don't see Team Hell No lasting much longer with the results of the tag team championship match we saw at the Royal Rumble. If anything, the best championship match of the night was the World Championship match between Alberto Del Rio and the Big Show, and that leads me to wanting to find out more between the Big Show and Alberto Del Rio and where this feud could potentially go. And obviously the next step is Booker T's announcement for the future of the World Championship, which either has something to do with the Elimination Chamber happening on February 17th or WrestleMania 29. I'd love to see a tournament or something announced in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania following the Elimination Chamber, or something done with the world title with several challengers for Alberto Del Rio inside the Elimination Chamber. This would really put into perspective what kind of potential Alberto Del Rio has in the way of a future in the WWE and as the world champion. The future I see of The Rock as WWE champion, I see him at least successfully defending the championship at least once. Now with the return of Brock Lesnar, that opens up the door and leaves with a lot of potential for The Rock and Brock Lesnar to have a feud either for the WWE Championship if The Rock successfully defends the title in a three-way at WrestleMania, which is highly unlikely, and something that a lot of radio shows and columnists don't believe that will happen for The Rock. If anything, either John Cena or CM Punk will come out of WrestleMania as champion. If it's a one-on-one match between The Rock and Cena, Cena will win and CM Punk will go to challenge The Undertaker or something at WrestleMania. If The Rock successfully retains the championship, he will either defend the title against Brock Lesnar